Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. 17 years ago, Morgan Grant was a quiet, reliable teenager whose life was forever altered the moment she discovered she was pregnant. She quickly married her boyfriend, Chris, a charismatic young man with a youthful face and a distinct deep dimple in his chin. But on the very day she found out she was pregnant, Chris's brooding, dark-haired, blue-eyed best friend, Jonah Sullivan, looked at Morgan with an unspoken, heartbreaking intensity. Whispering that he was worried they had gotten it all wrong, Jonah abruptly broke up with Morgan's younger sister, the vibrant and spontaneous Jenny, and left town without a backward glance. Morgan suppressed the electric connection she felt with Jonah and dedicated her life to being a dependable, predictable housewife and mother. Now, 17 years later, Morgan is 34 and grappling with a profound sense of emptiness. She has spent her entire adult life taking a back seat to the needs of her family. Her daughter, Clara, is a spirited, self-assured high school junior with dreams of becoming an actress. Clara's fierce independence frequently clashes with Morgan's overprotective nature. Meanwhile, Jonah has recently returned to their small Texas town. After a one-night stand following his father's funeral, Jonah got Jenny pregnant. Stepping up to the plate, Jonah moved back and he and Jenny are now raising their newborn son, Elisha, together. Clara's own romantic life is beginning to spark. She finds herself inexplicably drawn to Miller Adams, an aspiring senior filmmaker with a penchant for always having a sucker in his mouth to stop his teeth from grinding. Miller drives a rusty blue truck named Nora and acts as the sole caretaker for his terminally ill grandfather, Gramps. Chris vehemently disapproves of Miller due to Miller's father's criminal history, creating an immediate wedge between Clara and her parents. Despite the friction, Clara and Miller share an undeniable chemistry, even though Miller initially has a girlfriend named Shelby. The fragile peace of the Grant family is violently shattered one afternoon by a devastating phone call. Chris and Jenny have been involved in a horrific, fatal car crash. The tragic loss of her husband and her sister simultaneously destroys Morgan's world. Clara is equally utterly broken, carrying a suffocating secret guilt. She had been texting Aunt Jenny right before the accident, and Clara firmly believes her frivolous text message distracted Jenny and caused the fatal crash. In the agonizing days following the funerals, the narrative unravels a sinister truth. Jonah and Morgan are left to piece together the practicalities of the tragedy. When they go to retrieve Chris's abandoned car, they find it parked at a local hotel. Inside the vehicle is Jenny's overnight bag, packed with delicate lingerie. The horrifying realization sets in. Chris and Jenny were not just running an errand, they were having an affair. The ultimate crushing blow comes a few nights later, when Jonah is holding baby Elijah. As the infant smiles, a deep, distinct dimple appears in the center of his chin. Jonah breaks down, realizing that Elijah is not his biological son. The baby belongs to Chris. Devastated by the ultimate betrayal from the two people they loved most, Morgan and Jonah make a painful pact. To protect Clara from the world-shattering knowledge that her idolized father and beloved aunt were deceitful adulterers, they decide to take the secret to their graves. Elijah will be raised as Jonah's son, and Chris and Jenny's memories will remain untarnished in Clara's eyes. However, this heavy secret quickly becomes a toxic wedge between Morgan and Clara. Clara, drowning in her own unspoken guilt over the car crash, cannot understand why her mother is acting so distant, erratic, and aggressively strict. Clara begins to aggressively rebel. She skips her father's funeral to get high with Miller, who has since broken up with his girlfriend because he cannot stop thinking about Clara. Miller becomes Clara's only anchor. He is patient, deeply affectionate, and fiercely protective of her, offering her a safe harbor from her crumbling home life. They even team up to create a mockumentary for a state film festival, spending hours together filming B-roll and sharing sweet, quiet moments that eventually lead to their first kiss. Back at home, the tension boils over. Jonah, struggling as a newly single parent, frequently relies on Morgan for help with Elijah. Bonded by their shared trauma and the massive secret they are keeping, Morgan and Jonah's long-suppressed teenage attraction reignites. One evening, while cleaning the kitchen, their mutual frustration turns into a cathartic food fight. They hurled eggs, pudding, and mayonnaise at an ugly abstract painting Jenny had once bought for Chris. The moment of chaotic joy leads them to slip on the messy floor, fall into each other's arms, and share a passionate, breathtaking kiss. Tragically, Clara walks through the front door at that exact moment. Seeing her mother locked in an embrace with Jonah, her dead aunt's fiancé, and her dead father's best friend, sends Clara into a blind rage. Unaware of Chris and Jenny's affair, Clara assumes that Morgan and Jonah are the ones who have been sneaking around. She views her mother as a hypocritical monster who is actively disrespecting her father's memory just weeks after his death. Furious and seeking the ultimate revenge against her mother, Clara sneaks Miller into her bedroom that night. Driven entirely by spite rather than love, she initiates sex intending to lose her virginity just to shatter her mother's strict rules. Miller, sensing her emotional turmoil, gently tries to talk her out of it, but Clara pushes forward. The experience is hollow and painful. Afterwards, Clara breaks down crying, confessing what she saw in the kitchen. Miller is deeply hurt, realizing Clara used him and their physical intimacy as a weapon against her mother. Though he is stung by the betrayal, his inherent goodness prevails. He holds her while she sobs, leaving her with his t-shirt but climbing back out the window. The next morning is a disaster.
Morgan catches Miller sneaking out, leading to an explosive confrontation where Morgan attempts to ground Clara, only for Clara to coldly remind Morgan that she forgot her 17th birthday. Clara spirals further, skipping school, throwing her phone at Jonah in the middle of his classroom, and getting blackout drunk with her best friend Lexi. Realizing she is completely losing her daughter, Morgan finally accepts that the lies must end. After tending to a severely hungover Clara, Morgan sits her daughter down for a tearful, heart-wrenching conversation in the empty movie theater where Miller works. Gently, Morgan dismantles the lies. She absolves Clara of her guilt, explaining that Jenny was not the one driving the car when Clara texted her. Chris was. Then she reveals the agonizing truth about the Langford Hotel, the lingerie, and Elijah's true parentage. Clara is absolutely devastated, her perfect image of her father and aunt shattered into a million pieces. But amidst the wreckage, a profound realization washes over her. She recognizes the monumental sacrifice her mother made. Morgan willingly absorbed Clara's hatred, took the blame for the family's fracture, and suffered in silence, all to protect Clara's heart. This realization melts away Clara's anger, replacing it with a deep, newfound respect for her mother's selflessness. The healing process slowly begins. Clara seeks out Miller, apologizing profusely for using him and ruining their intimacy. Miller, whose feelings for Clara run incredibly deep, forgives her, assuring her that he wants to be the person she leans on through the dark times. Their relationship blossoms into something healthy and real. They finish their film project, a hilarious deadpan mockumentary starring Gramps about the fictional dangers of the color orange, which Jonah happily accepts for the state submission. In a heartwarming surprise, Miller plays a second video for Clara. It is a compilation of secret footage he has been taking of her for months, confessing his feelings to the camera when she wasn't looking. The video ends with a clip filmed by Gramps 3 years prior, showing a 15-year-old Miller idly captivated by Clara during a middle school play, proving he has been in love with her since the moment he first saw her. The video serves as the ultimate elaborate proposal. As the months pass, the heavy cloud over the Grant family lifts. Gramps reveals that he is leaving Miller a lucrative asset of air rights in New York, ensuring Miller will have the funds to attend the University of Texas for film school alongside Clara. Clara accepts the messy and perfect nature of love, finding peace in her relationship with Miller. Morgan finally stops living for everyone else and begins to live for herself. She starts studying for a new career in real estate and fully embraces her relationship with Jonah. With the ghosts of the past finally put to rest, Morgan and Jonah commit to raising baby Elijah together, finding the deep, fulfilling love they were always meant to share.